Hey, this is Mark, the Mexican Dream Rodriguez. You're watching another episode of WWE Aftershock Retro. And today we're going to talk about Wrestlemania 28. Now, why 28 in particular amongst all the WrestleManias? Well, for me, has a special place in my heart in terms of memories, trip down memory lane. This was Sweet Pete's 28th birthday party with the pay-per-view at his house with the big screen TV and everything. And of course, Sweet Pete was there wearing his Sheamus shirt there as the birthday boy. But of course, I was there, Johnny was there, Pikachika was there, Gil Pedro, aka the Mexican Fat Man, was there, all our friends, everyone was there. It was pretty awesome. We're all yelling together, booing together, you know, pizza, food, snacks, and everything. Had some Xbox games afterwards. I believe it was like Super Street Fighter 4 or something like that. So it was pretty cool to all hang out and all be together and watch this pay-per-view with the whole big thing of The Rock versus Cena as the main event. And yes, I also have this shirt. Here's a coincidence. I just got this WWE Immortal shirt with discounts with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whatever. And it just so happens that John Cena, Kane, and Daniel Bryan are all on this shirt. And they did have a big part in this particular pay-per-view. So let's check that out. So our first match we had here, I had to call it April Fool's match. This did take place April 1st, 2012. So, you know, it was Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus for the heavyweight titles. Heavyweight title match. At this particular point in time, Daniel Bryan was the champion. Sheamus was a challenger. And yeah, so Sheamus comes in, his big theme song, blah, blah. Daniel Bryan comes in with AJ Lee as his girlfriend slash ballet theme song. Everyone's going, yes, yes, yes. The match is about to start. They announce the challengers. Daniel Bryan decides to give AJ Lee a good luck kiss. Turns around, kapow! Bro kick right in the face. Daniel Bryan is down. Sheamus gets on top for the pin. 1, 2, 3, bam! That's it. Over in about 12 seconds or something of actual ring time. Not even 12 seconds, maybe. And Sheamus is the brand new WWE Heavyweight Champion. That was like wow. We were like so shocked. I mean, like I said, it has to be because it was April Fool's Day. You know, that's like April Fool's prank. It was like a high-profile championship match. And we were all just like super shocked that that really happened and everything, you know? And the thing I remember the most is that Pete in particular was so pissed off. He was, come on, guys. I mean, now, if this was like an episode of Raw, that'd be something. But this is WrestleMania, man. This is a high-profile championship match. What the hell? Like, oh, come on, man. And I think that also made it funny is that he just wouldn't let it go. We were watching other matches down the line, and he would still keep bringing it up. I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they had Sheamus beat him so quickly. Damn, stupid AJ and all that. And we were like, dude, let it go. That was a couple of matches ago, you know. But I have no words. That was shocking. That was super surprising. And I guess it was so whatever. You just had to do it again. As you remember, and more recently, when AJ Lee was champion, she got surprisingly kissed by Brie Bella. Hot. And Nikki would grab her for the rack attack, and bam, that would end the match. And AJ Lee would also lose her title in a similar way. The one thing I did forget, though, because I literally have not seen this since 2012, but I always thought that the match was going to start and then AJ Lee herself just came in, kind of interrupted, and gave him a kiss and everything. But no, watching it now, Daniel Bryan himself was telling everyone, whoa, stop, whoa, let me kiss my girlfriend first. So it was like, dude, you have no one but yourself to blame. And I know it's like AJ cost the match. No, you were the one to do that. It's like, dude, kiss your girlfriend, like, before you get into the ring, or before they start, you know, before they ring the bell. Don't do it after the bell, especially with Sheamus as your opponent, because, you know, keep your eye on the ball. Just keep your eye on the ball. But wow. So next match was Kane versus Randy Orton. I guess he had a feud or something. I guess Kane was hunting Randy Orton down. This was, of course, classic Demon Red Mask Kane. I gotta say the match was kind of slow paced. I guess Kane was trying to injure Orton, taking him apart piece by piece, so it'd be harder for him to do the RKO whenever it came down to it. But it was a pretty slow-paced match. I was surprised, though, when Randy Orton tried to do the RKO, Kane would counter it, but he did it every time. Like, later on in the match, he would try to do the RKO again, and I thought for sure that, okay, now it's going to hit, but Kane would still counter it. So Kane basically had an answer for everything that Randy Orton was trying to do. And then they were both on the ring, and Randy Orton was trying to do some kind of, you know, big slammer off the ropes or something. But Kane still grabbed him in the chokeslam and chokeslam off the ropes, and bam, Orton was out. Kane won. and I was honestly surprised. It was a good finish though, but the match was a bit slow paced. So then we had Cody Rhodes versus Big Show for the Intercontinental title. At this point, Cody Rhodes was the champion, and I guess Cody Rhodes was picking fights with Big Show. Why would you do that against the Big Show? But he had this big, like, I guess, gag reel or some kind of, like, let's say kind of like a promo thing. He had like a promo video mixing together all of Big Show's most embarrassing moments, all his losses, all his, I guess, epic fails, you want to call that, to just make fun of Big Show throughout all his embarrassing moments when he was still in the WWE and all that. So I guess now it's time to sell the score. And I guess the match kind of went how you would expect a match to go between Cody and the Big Show. The Big Show was literally just too big for him. I do have to give credit though. Cody did fight smart. He did play a bit of keep away. He did try to injure the legs and knees of the Big Show. That's how you slow a big guy down. Try to take out his legs and everything. But it was still too much. There was a time where Cody pinned him, and when Big Show like kicked out of the 3 count, he actually threw him away a couple of feet away. I'm like, holy crap, dude. And then, of course, in the end, Big Show got ready with the knockout punch, and bam, Cody was out, and Big Show won. And I guess this is the first time that the Big Show was ever Intercontinental Champion. It was a very emotional moment. People were cheering, people were happy and everything. And I just to say that it is kind of weird seeing Cody Rhodes as Cody Rhodes now and not Stardust. This is a very serious match. I believe that Stardust is just a big clown, a big goofball now. I mean, he does have the moves, but he's so much of a cartoony villain that you expect him to lose and fail and be made a fool out of. I imagine if it was Stardust versus Big Show, it would have just been knockout punch, that's it. But here, Cody, as his normal self, was a serious contender. He was really trying to do his best to take the Big Show down. So I think it would have been kind of believable. Cody Rhodes could have taken the Big Show down if luck was in his favor, but you know. So then we had the Divas match, a Divas tag team match. It was Kelly and Maria Menouns versus Beth Phoenix and Eve. I'm not completely sure. I believe Beth was the current Divas champion, but it's a tag team match. Titles on the line anyway. So they both fought it out. Some moments did come to mind during the beginning of the match. Keep in mind that Maria was wearing very tight, very bright white pants. So there was a time where both Kelly and Maria, I guess they had Eve slammed against a turnbuckle, and they both rubbed their butts in her face. But I guess with Eve's like makeup or whatever, it left a brown smudge on the back of Maria's pants. And like I said, bright white pants, a brown smudge near the butt area, a little awkward. It was kind of hard to unsee. You know, it was awkward. I don't know if that was planned or just happened that way, but it was kind of awkward. One thing I do know is that Kelly actually did this real badass like backflip thing and just landed on the person with a perfect like pin-up opportunity and everything, and the girl still kicked out. But that was probably the most intense move of the whole match. Near the end, Beth Phoenix came in. She was lifting up Maria up or something, but Kelly came to help her down. Both girls pushed both pushed Phoenix into the ring. You know, they pushed her. That, of course, got Eve out of the way, so she won't interfere. Maria did some kind of, like, chokehold slam or something, like a face slam, face first or something. 1, 2, 3 pin, and Kelly and Maria win the match. But, yeah, interesting match. I'm not really familiar with these people. I only know Kelly because at the time Pete made us play lots of these WWE games, SmackDown versus Raw, whatever, and Kelly was featured in some of these games, so I at least recognized her. And I think I've heard of Beth Phoenix before this, but yeah, I'm not really a big fan. The match was kind of so-so. I guess this was back when Divas was still a bit more in the piss break era. Now they're a bit more, you know, more serious, you should say. But I did like that move, that Kelly move. That should have ended the match. That was a cool backward flip thing, and it just landed so perfectly. And that was like the perfect. It landed right into a pin hold right there. That could have been a 1, 2, 3 right there. But either ways, interesting match there. Then we have one of the big ones here, the end of the era. It was The Undertaker versus Triple H with Shawn Michaels as a guest referee. And of course, it all took place in a Hell in a Cell match. And, of course, no disqualification. He used all the items on stuff. It was just like to survive, you know? And Shawn Michaels was like, he was kind of like divided in there. He had a big respect for the Undertaker. Undertaker did defeat him before in previous WrestleManias, but he still had a big respect for him. But Triple H was also his friend when they were both D-Generation X. So it was kind of like a divide here. And it was a pretty intense match. They both went all out. The Triple H was like basically beating the living crap of the Undertaker with a steel chair, just hitting him on the spine just over and over and over. And Shawn Michaels kept trying to break it up. And, you know, Undertaker would still not give up. And Triple H was like, end it, you know, come on, give up already. Undertaker would not give up. He was telling Shawn Michaels, like, end it or I will, and everything. Undertaker's like, no, it's not over. No, do not end this match. No, I can still go on. And he kept getting up and everything. And they were like, slamming each other against the cage, slamming each other against the steel steps and bringing the steel steps like into the ring and stuff. There was a moment where it looked like Triple H was actually going to do the pedigree to the Undertaker on the steel steps, but Undertaker still managed to get out of it. And Triple H also grabbed his infamous sledgehammer. There were times he was trying to bring the hammer down Undertaker's head, but then Shawn Michaels was still wrestling it away and tried to, you know, stop it and everything. And, well, during all of this, I guess there was like a confusion, like bad timing. Shawn Michaels trying to see if Undertaker was okay, and Undertaker grabbed him in the Hell's Gate. I guess he confused him with Triple H or whatever. And Shawn Michaels was knocked out by the Hell's Gate. So then, when Undertaker grabbed Triple H in the Hell's Gate, Triple H was unconscious, but since Shawn Michaels was out, there was no one to declare the winner or anything like that. So now this extra guest referee just ran in there to try to continue the match. Undertaker chokeslammed this referee out. It was like bodies everywhere, and it was just insane. And it just kept going and going. And these guys were both giving it all they got. And like he gave the tombstone pile driver on Triple H, and yet Triple H would still not give up. And Shawn Michaels would kept begging both of them, you know. And I guess like in retribution for the Hell's Gate earlier, Shawn Michaels hit the Undertaker with the sweet chin music, kapow, which was perfect for Triple H to grab him. Pedigree, kapow, right there, and Undertaker would still kick out. It was like, where were these guys finding the strength to go on, you know? And it would just keep going for like several more minutes. It was like a half-hour match. It was a super intense half-hour match, but it was just so on the edge of your seat, exciting. You weren't really complaining. You were like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? And then Triple H was trying to grab the sledgehammer. Undertaker stepped on his hand to stop him from doing so. Like, no, not doing it this time, and all that. And at the end, Undertaker finally did defeat Triple H. Triple H, with nothing left in the tank, basically gave one last FU to the Undertaker and just end it now, just end it. So Undertaker did grab him with a tombstone pile driver, and kapow, that's the end. Undertaker won, and the streak remained unbroken until, of course, later on. So anyways, it was a cool thing, a lot of respect. At the end, both Shawn Michaels and Undertaker helped up Triple H to all out of the ring, you know, the music. It was a pretty cool moment between the three of them. I was just kind of confused why it was called the end of an era, though. It was kind of weird because now, if they broke the Undertaker streak, definitely would have been an end of era. But Triple H would still keep fighting in future WrestleMania. So it wasn't like it was like Triple H's retirement match. So I don't know why it was called the end of an era on both sides. But either ways, that was the match of the night. And it was also very good to see Undertaker in much better shape. Of course, he was younger at this time before his legs were so messed up. A much better fight now. I do know that currently in recent fights, he had better luck. Like he was in better shape to fight against Bray Wyatt and all that stuff. But it's just not the same. You know, he still has problems. It was good to see Undertaker in raw form in this match. Pretty awesome. So after that, we had this big thing here. I guess there was some kind of divide between Raw and SmackDown or whatever. It was a big team. It was Team Johnny, this guy named Johnny Laurinaitis, and he was a general manager of Monday Night Raw, and Brie Bella was on their side. Brie Bella was announcing the guys. So on Team Johnny, we had The Miz, we had Mark Henry, Drew McIntyre, Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, and David Otunga, and they were all there. And give me just one moment here, because I do believe the battery's about to die. Give me 1 second. Okay, different angle here, because I gotta plug the camera in, but the review must go on. So yes, so as I mentioned already, we got Team Johnny with The Miz, Mark Henry, Drew McIntyre, Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, and David Otunga, with Brie Bella announcing them against Team Teddy Long. I guess Teddy Long was the general manager of SmackDown, and it's let me see here. Kofi Kingston, The Great Khali, R-Truth, Zack Ryder, Booker T, and Santino Marella. And we had Nikki Bella on their side, like, announcing him and all that stuff. And I guess it was like a big match. It was like, if Johnny wins, he becomes the new general manager of both SmackDown and Raw. If Teddy wins, he becomes the new manager of both Raw and SmackDown. So it's like a big thing. 6-on-6. Tag team match. It was not a Survivor Series, so basically anyone that gets pinned, that's it. It costs them the whole match. So yes. So for me, it was awesome to actually see Booker T in the ring. I know him more for WCW. I remember him being part of Harlem Heat. He was pretty awesome. I do remember him with the Harlem drop kick and all that. But I do know that once WCW went down, he did have some time with the WWE before he would now just become, he would retire and become a newscaster, sportscaster now. If you watch him in all the WWE, like the pay-per-view pre-shows, the kickoff shows, whatever, he was always there as the commentator. But it was cool seeing him in the ring. And he was kicking ass. He was mostly fighting against Drew McIntyre. They were both kicking ass, going up and down. Not really familiar with McIntyre. I wasn't really there during his time in the ring. But it was pretty cool to see Booker T back in action, kicking ass, taking names. He was really rocking it up. He had a lot of big focus. He was a big focus here in the match. Of course, you did get to see a bit of Jack Swagger, a bit of Dolph Ziggler fighting it out. You can see The Miz there. And Zack Ryder actually had his moment. Zack Ryder had his moment to kick some ass. And he was going out with Eve. We saw Eve earlier today. So both Eve and Zack Ryder were doing some weird pose. I guess Zack Ryder had his pose or something. So they were both doing some kind of whatever at the same time, gloating. And while this happened, The Miz took advantage of this to get him in the skull crushing finale, knock him out. And yes, The Miz won the match for his team. Team Johnny won, and everybody was of course pissed off at Zack Ryder. But here's the thing though, despite the fact that Eve was really supporting Zack Ryder and she was there doing the poses with him and stuff, she kicked him in the balls and left. She just walked off, and of course everyone is like in a mixture of being shocked that she kicked him in the balls while at the same time still being angry because they lost. But yeah, that was an intense match. And there was a lot of guys to keep track of, like so many guys. And the Great Khali was there with his big overhand chops. You got to see Kofi Kingston, I think, for a few seconds and everything. It was like most of the match was straight up like Booker T from their side, honestly. And the girls were fighting it out too, because we had Nikki Bella, we had Brie Bella, Eve was there. There was this girl, Arkansas or something like that. I know it's not Arkansas. It's like Arkansas. She was there for, I think, oh God, there's a cat in the background somewhere. Yes, we will let the cat out. Arkansas was there for one side. What's her name? Vicky Guerrero was also there supporting one of the teams. I think she was with Team Johnny. So yeah, there was a time where the girls also fought it out. Well, basically it was like Arkansas fighting against what's her name, Vicky Guerrero, while the Bellas are trying to keep them apart. So yeah, it was crazy. It was too many guys to keep track of, but I do like it in the sense that I got to see Booker T, my man, Booker T, in action. So then we had, to continue on with this kind of thing here, we had Chris Jericho versus CM Punk for a WWE Championship. At this time, CM Punk was the champion, and I guess since Johnny is now the owner of both SmackDown and Raw, he just walked up to CM Punk and gave a new restriction. Normally in a championship match, the only way to transfer the title is if you win by a pinfall or a submission. If you lose to a countout or disqualification, like the other guy might win or something, but the belt still stays with the champ. But now you had a new limitation. If CM Punk gets disqualified, he will lose the title. So that's the thing. And I guess during the promos, they showed that Chris Jericho was like really throwing in a lot of personal insults. I guess CM Punk takes pride that he doesn't drink or smoke or do drugs or whatever. But he Jericho was like, what about your wife and whatever? What about your sister? I understand she has a problem with substance abuse and all that stuff. So this is all trying to provoke CM Punk to piss him off and to get disqualified. There's this there's a rule whenever a wrestler is stuck in the turnbuckle, and you know how the guys are always either punching them or stomping them, and it's like the referee gets the count of 5. If you continue to stomp or kick or whatever after the count of 5, that does get you disqualified. So Chris Jericho was trying to taunt him and provoke him, and CM Punk was trying hard to like back away before he gets disqualified. There was a time where he had a steel chair there, and of course, if he hits Jericho with the chair, that's also disqualification. And Chris Jericho kept like, bro, come on, man. Come on, right here, man. Right here. Come on, hey, man. Hey, how's your sister doing? Like, trying to provoke him and stuff. But CM Punk would still, like, fight against temptation and drop the chair. And, of course, after that, the match got, more serious and everything. They both fought it out. Chris Jericho did get CM Punk into the walls of Jericho at least twice. And it was very intense, very hard not to tap out. He was far from the ropes. Like he was trying to get the ropes, but Jericho would still pull him away from the ropes. So it was pretty difficult. But somehow CM Punk would still get out. And at the end, CM Punk would grab Jericho on his own submission hold, and Jericho would tap out, and CM Punk would still win and still keep his championship title. And that was a pretty good match. That was a pretty intense match. It was pretty good, pretty cool to see Jericho more in his prime still, and CM Punk, he's just fun to watch. He's pretty cool. As you know, of course, CM Punk would eventually get married with AJ Lee in real life. So it was kind of weird for me to see AJ with Daniel Bryan at the beginning of the match, So we had this weird skit of Brodus Clay with Cameron and Naomi, and they were all dancing and stuff, and they were playing the Somebody Call My Mama song, which of course was Naomi's theme song for a while before she became bad and everything, and it was just silly. They were dancing, they called Mama Clay, random old lady there, they're all dancing around, they're all shaking it down. Of course, I wouldn't mind seeing Naomi and Cameron shake it down. And it was just music and dancing and twerking, and I don't know, it was a weird thing. I guess it was like to calm the people down a bit from the Jericho match before you get ready for the big one here. And yeah, there was other things. There was Hall of Fame too. There was 2012 Hall of Fame. Edge, the rated R superstar, was the one that caught like the most attention. But we also had Yokozuna was in the Hall of Fame. He has passed by now, but his family was there. The Four Horsemen was there, including Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. It makes me wonder if Ric Flair was ever in the Hall of Fame himself. This is more about like the Four Horsemen and other guys here and there. But they also had Mike Tyson. I guess Tyson was the Generation X for a while or something. I don't know. It's so weird, like they had Schwarzenegger, they have Mike Tyson. Now at least Mr. T makes sense because Mr. T was actually wrestling in WrestleMania and stuff like that. But these guys, I don't. So anyways, big event here. We had John Cena versus The Rock. Big thing. They're both big icons, both in their prime. They're both faces of the company. Once in a lifetime. They had a rematch though, and it was like to see who would win once and for all the fans, to shut up the fans of who says who's better, whatever. And it was like real big. I mean, they had like this group with this big musical number and whatever before Cena would come out. And then they would call Flo Rida to play the I Got a Feeling or Good Feel, whatever song is called, with before The Rock would come out, and they would all come out, all that good stuff. But it was a pretty weird match, though. At the beginning, it had such a slow start in the beginning. It's like they didn't know what to do. They were both staring at each other, staring at the crowd, and it's like they didn't know what to do because it's like a tough spot. It's like lots of months of build up and everything. Everyone's like super pumped, and you gotta do it. Like you gotta do this match carefully. You can't make like The Rock look too bad. You can't make Cena look too bad. It's like they didn't know what to do. They did a bit of a power struggle thing, and the Cena I keep saying the Cena. Cena pushed The Rock away, and The Rock grabbed Cena, and then The Rock pushed Cena away. Then they both locked up for a third time, and Pete was like, "Oh, come on, a third time, really?" And it was like they didn't know what to do. They had like no idea what to do against each other and whatever. It was like such a slow start, but eventually it did get better though. It did get more action packed. They were both giving each other their all. I mean, Cena gave him the 5-knuckle shuffle. The Rock would still kick out of that. There was the AA. The Rock would still kick out of that. The Rock would still hit Cena with the people's elbow. He would still get out of it. He would hit him with the rock bottom. He would still get out of it. I mean, nothing they could do to stop each other. Everything, they had an answer for everything. They would kick out of everything no matter what. Cena did grab The Rock in his cross-face submission hold, and there was nowhere to go for The Rock, and The Rock was actually unconscious. And they do this thing where it usually happens when you're in a sleeper or something, where they raise your arm, and if they raise it 3 times, you're out. But yes, The Rock somehow managed to grab on that third time and kept the match going. And yeah, it was more back and forth. It was pretty intense between the two of them. In the end, though, I keep saying the Cena. Cena would grab Rock with the AA, and he was down. And based on how The Rock kept making fun of Cena and kept taunting the whole "you can't see me" and trying to rip off the 5-knuckle shuffle and everything, Cena decided, okay, you know what? My turn then. So he started taking off his elbow pad. He started getting ready for the people's elbow. He would run to it, but before he could do it, The Rock would get up, grab him for the rock bottom, and that's it. Cena was out, and I was super surprised. The Rock won, and it was a big shock because everyone was expecting Cena to win, mostly because, oh, it's John Cena, you just can't lose, but also because at the time The Rock was filming the G.I. Joe sequel, I think it was called G.I. Joe Retaliation or whatever, and he was filming, or Rise of Cobra, I don't know what it was called, but he was filming the G.I. Joe movie at the time, so it made sense for The Rock to lose, to use this as an excuse to kind of bow out and finish filming. But it's also kind of weird because, of course, during WrestleMania, they would show lots of promos and trailers for G.I. Joe, The Rock's in, and oh my god, to really bring out the attention for it. Just like how this other WrestleMania had Terminator Genesis and all that. But the movie was actually delayed a whole year later. It was like supposed to be like the summer movie for this summer, and wait for next summer. That was weird how that worked out. But yeah, so we were all like super surprised. We were all glad that The Rock won because, of course, everybody was tired of Cena always winning. But pretty intense match. It just had a very slow start. One thing I do remember that was pretty funny was Gil Pedro was he was starting to work on the gym and all that, so he was impressed by The Rock's musculature, and he kept pointing out The Rock's quads. He's like, "Oh my God, The Rock! Look at those quads! Look at those quads, man! Like those quads, man! Those quads, man!" And it's like, there was even a moment of silence, I think it was during the sleeper hold, because we were all like on edge. We were trying to see if The Rock could or could not get out of Cena's crippler crossface thing and whatever the movie is called. It's a crossface move. And during this moment of silence, he just randomly blurts out, "Oh my God, would somebody look at those quads?" And we were just like, what the hell, dude? That's the kind of stuff that you only get when you're watching with a group of people, But yeah, it was just random. But it was a good match, though. It was good that The Rock won. We were all glad The Rock won because, like I said, I don't know. Maybe some of us were still rooting for Cena. I don't know. But overall, pay-per-view was a lot of fun. It was pretty exciting. Like I said, the camaraderie there, watching it with a bunch of friends, big screen TV, all that cool stuff. And for me, without a doubt, watching it again, I don't know about back then. I don't remember too much back then. But watching it again last night now, the match just had to be Undertaker versus Triple H. For me, that was the match of the night. That was super awesome. Like I said, Cena and The Rock was kind of good. Just had a very slow start. It's like they honestly did not know what to do with each other in the beginning. It was so weird. Don't you guys practice this or something? I don't know. But the only match for me that was kind of so-so was Kane versus Randy Orton. It was just, I don't know, just too slow-paced. And I guess the Divas was kind of okay too, I guess. I don't know. So the only matches that I really could have done without was, I guess Kane and Orton could have been more action-packed. I guess the Divas could have been a bit more action-packed, but this was during the piss break era, not like now. They're like more in your face and stuff. But yeah, so for me, without a doubt, Undertaker versus Triple H with Shawn Michaels there. It was just intense. It was a very emotional battle for all three of them. That was the match of the night. And as for my thoughts, Sheamus winning the title with the April Fool's gag, like so short, so whatever. I don't know. It was funny. It was April Fool's. Unfortunately, I was not as invested in both Sheamus or Daniel Bryan as Peter or anyone else was. So I didn't get the hype. I didn't get the whole, oh my God, you've been building this up for months. How dare they end this in seconds? You know, so I didn't get that kind of disappointment. But yeah. So anyways, guys, that was this episode of WWE Aftershock Retro. And of course, there are other events, other past pay-per-view events for WWE, but also WCW. If you want to cover, put them in the comments below. There's another one I want to cover sometime before, but I have time before the year ends, because another pay-per-view that I watched with Johnny and Pete, and let's just say that it had a very interesting ending, because a major event in the real world happened as this pay-per-view ended, and yet we were still so into the pay-per-view that we almost ignored it or kind of brushed it aside until later on we found out, you know, stuff. I won't spoil it. That'll be for the next review. So anyways, guys, Mark, the Mexican Dream Rodriguez, saying goodbye here for WWE Aftershock Retro. See y'all next time.